The end justifies the means. That is an English phrase. It is a saying that shows that people may not mind about what you've really passed through during the journey, but only will care about where your journey has landed you. Why I bring this right now is because when you look at what's happening in the world today, there is a lot of division. People are divided and they no longer sit together, share like they used to. What does this show to us? That if we do not act, if we don't do anything, then the end will justify the means. So right now, I call upon us to think about things we can do to come up with a community spirit, loving each other, caring for one another as communities. Heal the world for it to be a better place to live in. As usual, my name is Georgie Nyamumba. This is the Sit Down with Georgie podcast. We normally bring out different people from different locations, different communities, and when they come, we talk about things, we suggest ways of how we can make the world a better place to live in. Today, with me, I'm having someone who has passion at heart. He is Abdul Aziz Kizito. He comes from Uganda, the part of Africa. So I'm grateful to have you together with me.
Well, I am grateful to be here.
Yes.
And thank you for taking the time to invite me.
Yeah.
When I saw the message, I was like, oh my God, have I finally made it? But anyway, I am so happy that you actually took the time and you're like, hey, I think this guy has something,
Yes.
it's very good when someone sees you for something something that is very good
Yes.
and they decided to reach out. I was very happy. I was like, well, when you say yes, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yes.
I'm also very, very delighted, thankful that you gave me the time to
Yes.
be here with us. So we can have a conversation of how the world can be a better place to live in.
Yes. That's very good.
I think you've seen how the world has really been divided. It is not by choice, but I think it is how far the world has changed. Things are no longer as they used to be a long time ago. So, with Kizito, we're going to dive in topics. He's going to tell us what he thinks can be done normally at such a sensitive time where people think togetherness is a wildest dream. Let's see. Let's take a simple break. When we come back, we dive into this conversation with Kizito after this. I'm very grateful to have you on the Sit Down with the Bishop. Thank you for coming over.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy to be here to gain some knowledge from you
Yeah.
and also give what I can give. Because I cannot be that all knowing,
Yeah.
but at least I have knowledge on things that would be a little bit which will make the world a little bit better or a better place, which will heal someone out there who could be there and they are a little bit lost. It will be a good thing for them, with Qatar mainly because in my experience with Qatar is a good country. However, not everyone is okay. Okay, and if at all there is someone out there who's watching Sit Down with Georgie, and they're listening, they're watching Aziz talking with Georgie, it would be something I might say that would be refreshing for them. Okay, and that to me is it's like a win. That to me is a win. I was able to make someone's life a little bit better. Because sometimes you just want someone to understand what you're going through. Yes, so I'm happy to be here.
So thank you. I'm also honored to have you. Kizito, when you hear or if you read the word healing the world now, what comes into your mind when you just listen or read this word? What comes into your mind?
Well, healing the world is a very big topic. However, for me, I love to narrow down things because you cannot tackle everything, all at large. However, you can start from the nitty gritties, the small things, because humans, we love when we are being seen, when we love it when we are being seen. Okay, so if at all I'm seen, it's something that it gives me hope. Okay, so healing the world, it starts from the small things, the hello. I pass by a bus and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Okay, that's when you are at work. Let's say you are at work and come from the week after a long weekend, and you're walking like, hey, how was your weekend? It's not that I want to be inquisitive, but I'm just asking to see how did you spend your weekend. Okay, that is part of healing the world. Trying to be kind, being kind, actually not trying, but being kind, because there is being nice. People are nice. Don't get me wrong, people are nice, but sometimes niceness is not really necessary. Being kind is something that is far much more than being nice, okay? Because I might be nice, but I don't really like you, okay? But being kind is going to be on another level, okay? That is also part of being the world, okay? Those small things, they're the things that help us to get to a better place, to make the world a better place. Yeah.
Okay. And why, like, why do you think there is a lot of hate in today's world? Because when you look at the increased rate at which people are very, very angry, hateful, people are really getting into depression because of just being sad. Why do you think this is happening right now?
That's a very good question, However, there are many reasons as to why people are being hateful at this point in time. But one of the points that I think have led to this amount of hate is, number one, people have become so individualistic, okay? And that community has been torn apart, okay? Everybody wants to be on their own, okay? Right now, being on my own is the new trend, okay? I just want to be on my own. I don't want to see people. Fine, it's okay to have some alone time because I also love me some alone time. But there is that time where you have to connect with people. We are human beings. That's the first thing you need to realize, that you are a human being. You are going to have needs, okay? Some people, they love to be single. That's entirely okay. But at some point, you need to realize that you might need someone to talk to you, okay? Not just because they need to be there with you all the time, but you might need someone to talk to. You might need a community. We need a community. We always need a community. You're not going to be a lone wolf, okay? You're not going to be alone. So that's why it starts from there. Because when you are alone, you realize that you don't need to care about anyone. However, when you have a community, you realize that, hey, so and so is here, so and so is here. There is this person that I can actually, talk to. We go for coffees, we go for runs, we go for walks, But with the reading, with the height of the how can I put it out? With the way people are now individualistic, they just want everything on their own. I just want to be alone. I want to do this like on my own. So they in time they start not caring. They become so self-absorbed. You become so self-absorbed that nothing really nothing really matters to you apart from only you. Yes.
So it really brings selfishness as well.
Yes, selfishness. People have become so selfish that they're inconsiderate. Yes, those are the small things that make us human beings. Let's say you have like a whole loaf of bread, okay, and it's a whole family. For someone who's individualistic, they won't really care about any other person, okay. Have I eaten? Great. Anybody else who hasn't taken them, that's their problem.
It's none of my business.
It's none of my business, you know? Because I woke up, I was hungry, I saw a loaf of bread, I took all of it, you know? Not knowing that, yeah, there might be some other person who also actually spent 2 days without eating, you know? And they might actually use that loaf of bread. They want to just take it all for you, you know? Yes.
Okay. You highlighted individualism. I think this is a growing, not if not grown, I don't think it is still growing, it has really grown. So, Abdul Aziz, imagine if the world stops right now and it's only given chance to say something. What would you say?
That's a very good question. Though, when if at all the world would stop
Yes.
and I have the chance to say something, is I think we should be. My message would be is that we should be kind to one another. You know, we should be kind. I'm not saying that overly kind, overly nice, but we should be kind to ourselves and to one another. Because actually, be kind to yourself. Okay, because when you're kind to yourself, it gives you room to be kind to the other person. Because then you will realize that, yeah, if at all I was to be in this person's position, I would also do something, you know, I would also be of help or something of that. So be kind to yourself first, so that you can be able to give that kindness to the other person. Many people, you know, actually, it's very funny, but it might be kind of alarming, but many people are not kind to themselves. Okay, I'll give an example. Many people, some people, they decide to live vicariously. Okay, they decide to, you know, they go out, they do drugs, they do like, you know, overconsumption of alcohol or whatever life that is a little bit unhealthy. Because when you live an unhealthy life, you don't really love yourself. That is my opinion. Okay. Some people might be like, no, like, but that is my opinion. So they can say no, but if at all you're living a very unhealthy lifestyle,
Yes.
that is you being unkind to yourself. Because we only have one body.
Yes.
So if at all you decide to, you know, have that ecstasy, have that, you know, marijuana, you know, but you decide to have drugs, that is you damaging your body. And later in life, you'll be like, oh my God, I need help, and all that. But guess what? You had that choice. Because that is all about choices.
Yes.
You had that choice. And guess what? You took
Alternative.
an alternative. And you know one thing about life, it always catches up. It always catches up. So that's why I'm saying that if at all the world was to end and I get to have that message, is be kind to yourself.
Now, sometimes when I meet different people, I tell them that we live in the funny world where self-care is important. And for the viewers, not being selfless, it is something that is preached in churches. I like reading. For the readers, they really like, for quite a good time I've been reading books, I've learned many lessons and personal lessons as well. I feel like be selfless, but be considerate about you. If you to give out something, like you cannot give what you do not have. Fill your cup first. It is then that you have something to share. That is one thing I live with you, because otherwise you become depressed. Great. Talk about that. What role do you think love plays in bringing people together?
You know, love is a sensitive topic.
Yes.
You know, it's very sensitive because we view love in different ways. Okay, because there is love, there is sibling love, there is parent to child love, and then there is the intimate love, then there is the platonic love. You know, all of those types of love,
Yes.
they're different and they can be displayed in different types of ways.
Just from there,
Yes.
when you explain the different types of love that do exist, so I'm mostly looking at this. When you talk about, for example, if people in the relationship,
Yes.
you may find people living in one house, which house is full of chaos. You get it. You may find a house full of chaos. They're not united. Talk about family. You may find a family where siblings, aunts, uncles, stepchildren fighting. That means there is no togetherness. There's no love. Talk about your communities. You find a community where people don't even greet each other, where people cannot even empathize with one another. So, talking about love in general, that affection, that empathy that we really have in our hearts, which role do you think it really plays in putting people together?
Love. Love is. I want to speak from a poet's perspective,
Yes.
but it might be a little bit too much. Okay, so but when it comes to love, it is something that it has its highs and lows. Okay, but we are not forgetting one thing, that you love this person. Okay, they might make you angry today, but in the evening you might squash that anger, and you're like, you know what? At the end of the day, this is someone that I care about, because love is not just about love. Love is about care.
Yes.
You care for this person. You have shared values. Because that's where love starts to connect. You have shared values. You have something that you share. Because loving a sibling, what do we share? What do we have in common? We have the same blood. We have the same blood. Yeah. Parents and a kid, they come from them. And then when it comes to a partner, your partner, your wife, your husband, you have something that you share. Okay, what do you share? Maybe you both like each other. That's something to start with. So how does it bring us together? Is that everything that you do, you try to be considerate, because love is considerate. Love is affection. Love is, beautiful, words of affirmation. Hey, you look beautiful today. That's a very nice dress.
Yeah.
That's love. It keeps you going. So I do believe that love, yes, it is it's something very vital in healing the world. Because you can't heal the world when you deal with hate. Of course, it will be chaos.
Right. So, there are many things that I think of, and I've realized how much these things put people together. And amongst those things is music.
Yes.
When you talk about music, I've seen how music puts people together. People even forget their differences when they are vibing on a song.
Yes.
When they go to the concert, you see them forgetting that someone next to me even has sweat.
Yes.
They all dance at that moment and only remember when the music is off. Then they go back to fighting. So talking about music, what is your relationship with God?
My relationship with God, I would love to take it back. I love to take it back to when I was young, for since that age.
Yes.
Okay, I've been more connected with God. I want that. I'm so connected to the Most High all the time, but no, I believe I have a good relationship with God. Okay, I try to make sure that I pray my 5 daily prayers, every day. Sometimes, I don't miss them, but I try to make sure that I catch up with them. However, with God, I love God because Allah has always been a biggest, a big part of my life. He's a big part of my life. Has not, but he's a big part of my life. God is a big part of my life because I've been through many situations that I thought I could never get out from. But hey, I took time. I went to the prayer mat and I prayed about it. And in time, I got back up. I got back up. It is not something that people really do because when you pray, you just pray to God. Because right now I'm living one of my answered prayers. But hey, we as human beings, we are very good at forgetting. Once you have it, you forget about it, and then you have to ask for something else. But guess who never forgets? God never forgets.
God never forgets.
Yes, God never forgets. So when you pray about something, just make sure that you pray to God that you have the memory to always remember that God gave this to you and you can take it away at any time. So that's my relationship with God, is that I never forget that He's always there. He's always there. Those small answered prayers, I might not even think about them, but hey, He actually answers, And just like that, you get to the next prayer, you're like, oh my God, I wish I could have like $1 million. But guess what? He actually gave you 20 million like a month ago. So that is God. People don't realize that, but to me, God is something that I hold on to a lot.
Wow. When you talked about that, it has reminded me of something. There's one song that I'm listening to. It's one of the songs that I really love. It is a song that is really working for me right now. It has become my anthem every day. It is just a new song of one of Uganda's musicians, Juliana Kalembos.
Yes.
So this song, it's called Olimwana Woha. For the Batolos, that phrase means, whose child are you? So there's one of the lines that she sings that, I thank you, God, for all you've done, for the battles fought and victories won, for my health, my wealth. And when I think about all that, it makes me reflect of how far I've come, the dreams that I have had.
Yeah.
There are some things I dreamt of 10 years back. I think when I was around 11 years. And some of the things that I just had in imaginations, I'm seeing them now. I'm seeing them right now. There are places I never thought I could go. I'm going there.
Yeah.
There are people I've known, I've never thought I could meet. I have met them. There are situations that have come, I did my good pass through.
Yes.
I've managed, I've conquered, I've moved, I've stood strong, and I'm still here. That shows how great God is.
Yeah. I actually, I have a story. It's I wouldn't want to get deeper into it, but I'll try as much as I can to give you most of the details. It was, I think, 2024. Right before we went into Ramadan, okay, and it was one of the lowest times of my life, and I was suffering, okay, I was suffering. I almost hit depression, but hey, I'm a bad guy. I I tried not to hit rock bottom because anyway, I was already at rock bottom, okay, but rock bottom has a basement.
Yeah.
Okay? And when they tell you about rock bottom, you're like, that basement, it's dark. It's dark in rock bottom. It's dark in the basement. So 2024, I went through a lot. Okay? I went through a whole stage. I went through that. The first stage was me denying. I was in denial. The first stage was in denial because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm actually going through this. I can't believe my body is actually going through this because I was a little bit sick, okay? I was sick, but I didn't know what was wrong with me, okay? So that whole time, and I'm really someone who loves quiet, like a lot. And my parents all the time they even call me up and like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
It's not really hard from you, you know. But then I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. You know, but deep down I was actually suffering, you know. I was going through a lot. In 2024, I went through the denial stage. Then after the denial, I reached the hospital. The doctor was like, "Oh yeah, you're not really good. You might actually need surgery." You know, it was that deep. So I was like, "I might need surgery."
Yeah.
Wow, and I'm going to have surgery in Qatar when I don't really have any of my my
Yeah,
close
your
people,
close
my
people.
my parents, my
Yes,
dad,
true.
my mom, my sister, my brother. None of them knew about that. But hey, I was going to have a surgery, and it shook, it's there is a way it shook, it initially this timeline called metabolism, my whole body. I realized that hey, we actually need that takes me back to the point of community. Just imagine if I thought I was just a lone person.
Yeah.
I decided to be a lone wolf, okay? Depression will hit me really, really quick, like real quick, just like this. I get the news and I'm like, wow, what can I do? I don't have anyone to talk to. But I come to that at that time. I had one friend of mine, a very long, like we go back really long time, like 20, like 2 decades ago. Okay, so I called him up and I told him, hey, I'm really scared, I might have a surgery. And he was like, it's all right, take time, pray to God, take some walks because I love walks, Georgie. I love walking. Every evening I go out, evening walks. Why? To free my mind. So that time, if I told you to check my routes in 2024,
Yeah.
they were very long, 10 kilometers, because I'm walking. But yeah, that's what I can say. That 2024 was the lowest period of my life, and what I can tell you is that God was there.
Yeah.
Okay. Funny enough is that a miracle happened and never got the surgery. Okay. And when I realized, when I went back to the doctor, to the surgeon, he was like, well, guess what?
Yeah.
You might actually not, you might not be, liable for that surgery. You don't really need it. I was like, are you for real? So that's why I say that my relationship with God is like really close because I understand where God can shift you. It's like within a second, you get from zero to some. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Talking about that topic, I think we may spend a day. It really makes me refresh. But then this is one of the things I want to give to the viewers. And it goes back to why we should embrace humility. Sometimes if you feel angry and you want to show the world your bitterness, think twice if they deserve it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we are challenged to a fact that we may want to show that, okay, I would like to do something at this point. But then we tend to regret after doing that. So it is a step for us to think, does the world need to see me shout? Does it need to see me fight?
Yeah.
That will mentor us to be people who reason, reflect, think before you act.
Yes, actually, I would like to add into that. It's of recent, I've been seeing, not actually recently, but I've been seeing a lot of Ghana TikToks because, and the way people, respond to certain messages or certain things, it's really alarming, okay? Because sometimes you don't really need to shout, you don't need to be vulgar because one thing, Georgie, is that the internet never forgets.
Yes.
Yeah. You might think that you posted something and you didn't think that, hey, there is one person who actually viewed it the moment you posted it, okay?
Download it.
And they kept it in their archives and they're like, what if when this guy does something,
I'll just pull it out.
So the internet never forgets. So that's why before you do something, you have to reflect, okay? You have to think about how will the other person at the end of the phone perceive my message? Because it's going to be people we interpret things differently. Differently. If at all, like, someone says something about me in the internet, and then I also come and I start saying bad things, vulgar words. At the end of the day, okay, fast forward to 5 years, okay, you thought the internet has forgotten.
Yeah.
You decide to become someone who's influential, and they decide to do a background check on you.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, you shouted at the camera.
Yeah.
How would you feel? Or how would you want to perceive you? And then you say the past is the past.
It will be you fighting you.
It will be you fighting you. That's why a man cannot control his emotions. It's long gone. Think before you act.
Right. Think before you act. I'm always grateful to see you following, watching, liking, and commenting. I invite you to join the conversation in the comment section. I really want to read your comments. I want to read what you have to say about the topics that you normally talk about. Mostly, I want to hear your suggestions of how can we make the world a better place? How can we embrace humility in a world that seems not to care, not even to, like, the world that is not bothered about people's feelings, people's emotions, the world that does not care when children are dying on streets, in the world that no longer cares when women are raped, men are killed. I want to hear from you. What do you think Abdul Aziz, can do to make the world a better place? As we conclude the show, Abdul Aziz, I have a session I want to take you through. So this session, I mentioned a word, and then you tell me what comes in your mind without thinking.
Okay.
What comes in your mind when you just hear?
Well, let's just stop you right there. I'm an overthinker. Okay,
so right now, don't overthink right now.
Okay.
So Abdul Aziz, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Maria Matele.
Sensational.
Sensational. I'm also tired. Yes.
David is, that's my photographer. That's my ride or die. Okay? Yes. Whenever I'm going out, it's like my handbag.
Yeah.
Handbag, or my wallet. One of the two.
Okay. The last one. This one you have to think, but don't think. Uganda.
Now, I have mixed feelings about Uganda. Okay.
What are the two words you can describe, how you can describe Uganda?
Currently,
in general.
Okay, in general.
in general.
Okay, in general, I love Uganda. Okay, but in general, I'll say is that's home. Uganda is home.
East or west?
Yes, Uganda is home. Okay, I love the fresh air of Uganda. I love the organic food. I love the fresh things. That's home. Okay. No, but currently, I'll leave that story for another day.
So he says, currently, he leaves the story for another day. So I'm not going to let you wait for the story for another day. I'm going to take you through a session of what we really have in Uganda. We have a lot of beautiful things. We have Makshan Falls. Have you heard of Makshan Falls? This is a beautiful field. It's like a collection of beauty. Great sceneries, great experiences, great food in Uganda. So all of you, I recommend you checking out the next video. We're going to be talking about Makshan Falls. I'm going to give you some pictures and some videos at the end of this show, showing the beauty that we have on Makshan Falls is coming out. Just after Abdul Aziz gives the conclusive information. Which last word do you want to make for the viewers?
well.
about healing the world.
My last message is to the people who are watching Sit Down with Georgie about healing the world is that number one, you should first love yourself.
Love was very important.
That is very important.
So much. He says, let's learn to understand one another. For the viewers, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for always being there, waiting for the episodes all the time. Thank you. I'm honored to have you. He mentioned that today he put on texture. If you ask me, George, what have you put on? I'll say, united.